The third-ranking Republican senator unveiling a tax proposal today aimed at benefiting small and mid-sized businesses. And joining us now, Senator John Thune of South Dakota. He's the chairman of the Senate Commerce Committee and a member of the Finance Committee. Senator, thanks for joining us this morning. At some point, we'll talk about the news of the day, but let's start with some of the proposals that you're putting forth to try to loosen some of the shackles, I guess, or at least help out small businesses. What does it entail?
Right, Joe, thank you. Well, first off, we think that small and medium-sized businesses are very interested in speeding up cost recovery, getting them to get capital deployed to invest more and to create jobs. And so our bill basically gives them ways in which they can recover those costs more quickly, expansion of Section 179 expensing, making permanent the 50% bonus depreciation, allowing startups to deduct their costs at a higher level, and expanding the number of businesses that are eligible for cash accounting. Those are some things that we do in our proposal. We think it'll serve as a sort of a marker out there, and we expect that the Finance Committee will enter into the discussion about how to create a broad-based tax reform bill here in the near future, and we want to get that discussion going.
So basically, you're talking about some things that are important for small businesses that you want to put on the radar for the House or whatever committee is going to write the tax reform bill. You want to have these things in front of the people that are doing it as suggestions for what should end up in the final bill?
Yeah, that's right. And we think that the Finance Committee in the Senate and Ways and Means Committee in the House, and the House has a blueprint out there. The administration's put forward a set of principles. The Senate really hasn't been heard from much yet, but we're starting to engage in that process, and we're working closely with Chairman Hatch and the Senate Finance Committee, our colleagues there, to try and put together the outline of a bill that we think we could move through the Senate. And obviously, we're going to be focused on the issues that we think will create greater growth in the economy, create better paying jobs and higher wages. And this really needs to be about growth, and the two things we think achieve the highest growth is the reduction in rates and then also faster cost recovery, and especially for small and medium-sized businesses, which create a lot of jobs in this country.
You've got on the plate of the Senate the obviously repeal and replace. And does that, I mean, do you foresee that being first before you do any of this other stuff? And where does that stand right now? I know you might not be specifically involved with that, but is the work going on right now with the Senate that you know of?
Actually, I'm very involved with that conversation as well, and we've got a group that's meeting on a regular basis, and every Republican senator, all 52 senators, are having input into what that Senate health bill might look like. Obviously, we're going to look at what the House has done, but the Senate is taking a slightly different tack in terms of how we construct this thing. But we believe that the current Obamacare is failing, the status quo is unsustainable, and that we need to move in a different direction that creates more choices, more competition, allows market forces to drive prices down in the healthcare market out there, and that's what our bill is going to be focused on. But to your point, I think we have to get through that discussion first. We need to do something on healthcare reform before we pivot to tax reform, because healthcare reform creates a much better, more favorable baseline to do tax reform later on in this year. So I think they have to sort of move sequentially, but we're multitasking right now and working on both of these important subjects.